We have to talk about what is going on in the state of Georgia. And I know that there are people who aren't going to like this conversation. Republicans in Georgia are going to vote for a man who can barely speak and is unable to explain a single policy. This is a man who can barely put together a coherent sentence. And unfortunately, because of some of the circumstances, it's almost like the elephant in the room that cannot be discussed. Now, I'm talking about former professional football player Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is running for Senate in Georgia against the incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. And Walker doesn't make any sense when he speaks. He seems unable to speak and unable to think. And when you talk about it, Republicans act all offended and they play the games where they claim it's actually what the left does. They say that's racist, or you're stigmatizing mental illness, or you're being racist against Ebonics, or whatever. Now, we're going to go through these claims one by one, and we have a new example of Herschel Walker just making no sense. Now, I'm going to admit to you, I don't know why Walker can't speak. He played football. There's speculation that there is a brain injury that might be at play. But when you bring up the brain injury part, there are people who say, David, it's not a brain injury, it's mental illness. Herschel Walker has talked about dissociative identity disorder. And then they will say, if you talk about a brain injury from football, you're ignoring the plight of mental illness. But at the same time, mental illness doesn't actually explain being unable to speak or explain one policy position ever. And then some people will show up and say, David, that's racism. You are essentially just criticizing Herschel Walker for speaking Ebonics. That's racist. But that's not it at all. That's not what's going on. And Ebonics doesn't prevent you from answering a question. It's crazy that the right, who says, oh, all the leftists, they get all offended. Now they're playing the I'm offended game when we go, hey, guys, Herschel Walker can't explain a single thing that he believes. The issue here really is Republican voters seem willing to vote for someone to avoid voting for a Democrat who cannot explain his opinion on any issue. Now, here's the latest example. Herschel Walker did one of these events in some kind of bar or restaurant, who knows, on Fox News. Brian Kilmeade interviewed him and said, hey, why aren't you going to debate, or why aren't you debating your opponent, Raphael Warnock? And Herschel Walker he can't explain it. It doesn't make any sense.
Herschel, Senator Raphael Warnock wants to debate you. You didn't debate during the primaries where you walked away with 68% of the Republican votes. Why won't you commit to a debate?
Well, first of all, Senator Warnock has nothing else to talk about. He don't want to talk about the high gas prices. He don't want to talk about the high groceries. I've told him many times, I'm ready to debate him anytime, any day. I just want to make it for the fans, not about a political party or about some media. And all he's doing is talking. I want to make it a fair and equitable debate for the people.
Are you worried about the moderate?
What? Understand? He's saying Warnock doesn't have anything to talk about. And I'm willing to debate if it's for the fans. That's not an answer. That should immediately make us say, can he think? Because he's not saying anything that makes sense. And there's other examples that we've covered as well. This one was when CNN reporter Manu Raju asked Herschel Walker, should there be new gun laws after the Texas shooting? And he says, what I like to do is see it and everything and stuff.
Hey, Manu Raju, with CNN. I know. Can I ask you, do you support any new gun laws in the wake of this Texas shooting?
Do what now?
Do you support the new gun laws in the wake of this Texas shooting?
What I like to do is see it and everything and stuff. I like to see it, My favorite New Jersey
trip.
He likes to see it and everything and stuff. And then the last example of this, he appeared like the following day or the day after that on Fox News, and he was asked about his solution to school shootings, and it was a department that can look at young men looking at women looking at social media.
See, that is the person wielding that weapon. Cain killed Abel, and that's the problem that we have. And I said, what we need to do is look into how we can stop those things. He talked about doing a disinformation. What about getting a department that can look at young men that's looking at women that's looking at just social media. What about doing that, looking into things like that, and we can stop that way. But
okay, this doesn't make any sense. And the really, we're being hard on Herschel Walker because he doesn't make any sense. But the Republicans in Georgia are so determined and desperate that Raphael Warnock is bad that they don't even mention that Walker doesn't actually say anything. He seems unable to actually put together a coherent opinion about any particular issue. When it's Joe Biden, it's Biden dementia and Biden stuttered and so on and so forth. And then Herschel Walker has not been able to explain a single policy position the entire campaign, refused to debate in the primary, so far is refusing to debate in the general election, and they don't say a word about it. It is, number one, obviously an incredible double standard, but number two, it says a lot about the modern Republican Party in Georgia right now that it doesn't even seem to faze them. Like if I said to you, what is Walker's plan to lower the gas prices that he has identified as a problem? It's not that you might not know. It's that he has not explained it once in any way that makes any sense. If I ask you, well, what is Herschel Walker's plan on inflation or to create jobs? You can look at the things that he has said. Words have come out of his mouth. I mean, there are letters which assemble words that I generally speaking recognize. There is not an actual position on anything. And Republicans, if you try to bring it up, they go, oh, you're either making fun of brain injuries or mental illness or you're racist. This is exactly what they accuse the left of doing. And now they themselves are doing it. It's wild out there, folks. It is wild. We will have these clips on our Instagram. You can find us at David Pakman Show on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at david.pakman. We will take a quick break and be right back. One of the fastest growing crimes in the U.S. is identity theft, and there's a new victim every 14 seconds. This has happened to me before. I've talked on the show. We got hacked. It was costly. It wasn't a good feeling. And that's why I now protect myself with Aura, one of our sponsors. Protecting your accounts and devices gets complicated because you need a bunch of different tools, and Aura combines them all into one app. Identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, password management, antivirus, all in one place. They monitor email addresses, passwords, social security number, bank accounts, credit cards. If something happens, you get an immediate alert on your phone. And then Aura can help me fix it as well. Aura is letting my audience try it free for 2 weeks at aura.com/Pakman. With the free trial, you can do things like see if your login credentials have been found on the dark web. I saw an old password was in 4 different data breaches. Probably something you want to know, and it's free, so you might as well just use the link down below.